comedy, as the scriptwriters say. It's like a joke. It follows the same routine as a joke, but there's no real punchline, but the canned laughter comes in and people start laughing. Just watch the comedies. It says here, in industry, which is our main concern here, the stress on team playing coincided with the appearance of psychologists and other social engineers at the plants and offices. They brought to bear on sticky personnel problems the insights of group dynamics. Sociodrama. Whenever you see them doing sociodrama, they'll put a band around your eyes so you can't see, and they'll say, well, now you know what a blind person feels like. Stumble around for a while. All of this kind of stuff. Fall back, and your friends will catch you. That's so you will stop depending on yourself and depend on other people. All of this stuff is very simple stuff, but it's done everywhere. It's a form of drama, you see. Sociodrama, group psychotherapy. This is for staff. Social physics. As Fortune put it, a bewildering array of techniques and disciplines are being borrowed from the social sciences for one great cumulative assault on the perversity of man. The magazine protested that group conference techniques had taken such a hold that in some company executives literally do not have a moment to themselves, that attend these meetings all the time and go through all this drama stuff and spill out their feelings and emotions and have it all recorded. If an employee becomes disaffected by company policy or environment, the social engineers feel it their duty to help him get rid of his mental unhealth. Fortune quoted one social engineer as stating, "Clinical psychologists have had great success in manipulating the maladjusted individual. It seems to me that there is no reason why we shouldn't have as much success applying the same techniques to executives, and now it's applied to all of society. Because they want to test your mental health and have you participate in communitarianism, as they call it now, community events. The growing insistence that management people be team players started producing business officials with quite definite personality configurations. This was revealingly indicated by Lyle Spencer, president of Science Research Associates in Chicago, when he made a study of the Young Presidents Organization. These are men who became presidents of their companies before they were 40. Necessarily, or at least consequently, most of the young presidents are heads of relatively small companies rather than the big ones. In commentating on their personalities of these young professionals or presidents, Mr. Spencer said, they're less team players. One thing prevents them from being president of General Motors. They haven't learned to be patient conformists. Patient conformists. They have lived too long freewheeling. So being, in other words, individualistically, doing their own thing individualistically. So you have to become a patient conformist to get up to GM position. And I can hear the music coming in, and I will continue with this because all of these techniques are used throughout society and all schools and have been for a long time. And we are not who we think we are as individuals anymore. Be back with more after this break.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network.
Hi folks, I'm Alan Watt, and this is Cutting Through the Matrix. And reading from Vance Packard's book, The Hidden Persuaders, to show you some of the techniques that have been used for a long time on the general public and are now used on whole nations through every strata of society. It's throughout local government. It's on all board management levels of everything around you, school boards and so on. And it's all through the federal governments as well. They go through all of this kind of training. It says here, page 178, a personal executive of Sears Roebuck, in writing a booklet for the guidance of hundreds of thousands of American school youngsters, stressed the thought that when you take a job, you become a member of a working team. Don't expect the rest of the group to adjust to you. They got along fine before you came. It's up to you to become one of them. As David Reisman observed in another connection, some companies such as Sears Roebuck seem to be run by glad-handers. An indication of the ways the depth approach to employee relations was put to use is seen in these developments. Science Research Associates Chicago, which has a dozen PhDs on its staff, began offering businesses the services of trained, experienced psychologists and sociologists for these functions, among others, evaluating candidates for executive positions, finding out what employees think about their jobs and company, evaluating the performances of employees more effectively. Several companies were reportedly employing a psychiatrist on a full-time basis, and increasingly employees began being psychotested in various ways while on the job. At a Boston department store, girls' clerks had to wait on customers with the knowledge that psychologists was somewhere in the background watching them and recording their every action on an instrument called an interaction chronograph, which was a kind of tape recorder, really. The notations made of each girl's talk, smile, nods, gestures, while coping with a customer provided a picture of her sociability and resourcefulness. Well, look how far they've gone today with this, with cameras everywhere, as they watch and study your interactions with people. But it doesn't stop there either, because I've mentioned before about how important the wives were in some of these big corporations, and it's the same too through some of the respectable charitable organizations, put it that way. It says, even a man's home life at many companies began being scrutinized to see if it conformed to the best interest of the team or company. A business writer for the New York Herald Tribune reported in the early 50s on the great manhunt for qualified executives that was being carried on by professional recruiting teams which had come into existence for this specialized purpose. He related some of the qualities they were looking for in the modern executive and said, another point of equal importance is the wife. That is being emphasized more and more. Professional manhunters place family adjustment high in job qualifications. The same story is being told by all firms in this field, including Ward Howell, Handy Associates Incorporated, Ashton Dunn Associates, Boyden Associates Inc., or Sorzano, Antel and Wright. Important men may not be recommended for higher-priced jobs because their wives may be too flirtatious, or she may not drink her cocktails too well, or she may be an incorrigible gossip. Investigations in this respect are quite thorough. And they are thorough because today you're given constant questionnaires when you go for these jobs, and even when you're going through the jobs, you get these little questionnaires. And there's questions in there which seem very, very innocent, and they're to trick you and throw you off. It's other data they're after, not what you think would be the actual answer. They're after other answers. And you can pretty well tell where your loyalties will lie, ultimately, with your family or with the company. Getting back to this book, it says here, psychological consultant James Bender advises me that a major producer of Cellular cotton products asked him to help set up a manpower program built around wives. He said that before the company hires an executive or salesman, the man's wife is interviewed as the last step before the hiring decision is made. It's a mutual sizing up, he explained. The wife is apprised of what the job may mean in terms of demands on the family life and inconveniences such as moving, husbands being away a good deal, etc. He said that in a few cases, wives after the interview have persuaded the husband not to take the job. And in a few other cases, we've decided, after sizing up the wife, not to hire the husband. Some of the companies tend to look at the wife as a possible rival to them for the man's devotion. Fortune, in a remarkable article in October 1951, detailed the growing role of the wife in company thinking. It surveyed executives across the nation and quoted one executive as saying, mournfully, "We control a man's environment in business, and we lose it entirely when he crosses the threshold of his home. Management, therefore, has a challenge and an obligation deliberately to plan and create a favorable, constructive attitude on the part of the wife that will liberate her husband's total energies for the job." What were the main traits corporations looking for in the wife? Fortune continued, management knows exactly what kind of wife it wants. With remarkable uniformity of